going to try and go through the operation of the Soundcraft SI Impact mixing board. Obviously, when you start in the morning, the first thing you're going to do is turn on the power strip, which activates the power amps. You'll know they are on because you'll see red lights flashing on the back of them. The second would be to reach right in this area here. Low down, you'll see a rocker switch. Turn that on, and you'll see things start to happen. Sliders moving like that's normal. Keep in mind this is a computer, so it takes a moment to boot up. You can see the boot process taking place with these lights coming across. While it's booting up, everything will be out, dead, so to speak. But as we get closer to going live, things will come to life and you'll see things start to move, which is normal. As you can see, things are now starting to activate, and we are now booted up. First thing you want to do once the soundboard is turned on fully is go to this button right here, which says Cue List. When you push that button, this screen will change. You turn the black knob, and as you turn it, you can see it changes the different settings. At this point, we're using the 9 a.m. service because it's highlighted, and then you just push down on the black button and it goes green, and it'll also say Service 9 a.m. active at the top of the screen as well. What that does is it activates all the presets on the board and gets you ready to go. For the 9 a.m. service, you'll see this row is called faders, A, B, C, and D. Think of it as a stack of 4 pancakes. You have this board is A, you have another board below it, which is B, another board below that's C, and another board below that, which is D. Now when you change these, you'll see the sliders change to the presets that are involved. For 9 o'clock, A will control the band. Here we have bass, drums, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, keyboards. These basic sliders on A are anything that's plugged into the stage box that's down where the band plays. Right behind the drum set, there's a box about this big. Plug into that, it connects to this. B is just miscellaneous odds and ends, a lot of things that aren't used. Here's your Talkback Mic. That is a mic that's usually found right beside the board that allows you to talk into the system so that you can converse with whoever's down below. C would be more for the 11 o'clock. Here we have the pastors. You have the handheld, you have Pastor Matt, Pastor Diane, and they are marked so you know whose mic is whose. Here's Wendy. Then you have your lectern, your pulpit. Choir 1 and Choir 2 are the 2 mics at the entrance to the chancel, right behind the baptismal font. Floor 3 is the boom mic right in front of us here at the front of the balcony. So those are your ambient mics or your background sound mics. You go to D, and here you have your sub main power, your mains, which are the speakers up in the ceiling, the record level, which we aren't using at this point, and fellowship hall and nursery. That controls the volume that the board sends to the amplifiers that feed the nursery down below and the social room. So we'll go back to C here. So what you've seen there is level A, level B, level C, and level D. So you actually have 4 of these stacked on top of each other, and each time you change this, that's going to change that. We go back to the A for the 9 o'clock service. When the band is in between numbers, the only button that works in this row of 8 buttons here is 1, and you can see it turns the band off. So when they're plugging in instruments, unplugging instruments in between songs, if you push 1, it will kill their mics and their instruments. Hit it again, everything comes back to life. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that you understand is, in this upper corner, this monitor level is not the monitors on the floor. This monitor level is the monitor level for these earphones. So don't think that by changing this volume, turning it up or turning it down, you're going to adjust anything out there. It only changes the volume of the headphones. Now the next section that we're going to go over is this row up here that's marked monitor 1, monitor 2, record, choir monitor, fellowship hall, nursery. Now 8 and 9 are not marked, but those are the feed outs for the live stream. And I'll go into that a little bit later. But to adjust the monitors, if you want the 3 monitors that are down front for the band, to adjust the output to those monitors, if you push 1, here you can see what's happened to these. So the monitor feeds are here, the main feeds are there. One thing to remember when you're on any of these, monitor 1 or monitor 2, if you come over to here, which is where your main volumes are, the slider that controls whatever you push here will be lit. You can see it's green. Stays lit for that. Record out, it's still lit. Choir monitor is strictly the volume feed to the speakers that are under the balcony above the choir. They are turned off because they create a lot of feedback. Since we don't have the choir up there, they are currently turned off at this point. You can see that this is lit, but it's turned off because that button, that would turn it on, and that would turn it off. And the fellowship hall in the nursery, MX8 and MX9, Mix 8, Mix 9. These are the live feeds for the live stream. And you can see they change color. This is lit, same color as the sliders. And once again, 9, now it's green. And there's your main output for the live stream. So just keep in mind that whenever you go to these, it controls this, but you can still override it by moving these. But basically they're pretty much set, so you don't have to really fool with that, other than if, say, Matt says, could I get more monitor? If he asks for an electric guitar, you just simply bump it up here. If his overall monitor volume isn't what he wants, then you would do the main, which raises all these equal amount. So it's pretty cut and dried. Going back to the mains, 9 o'clock, you're going to start with A. Your mute for A's for the band is here. B is it's really extra things, but we do have choir loft mics on here, which aren't anywhere else, and some of the other mics. But basically you're going to use A and C. C is your 11 o'clock, and once the band stops playing at 9 o'clock, you would go to C. The only time you go to A is when the band is performing. Other than that, C is where your world is. These blue ones, when you're on A, which is the band, you'll have Vox, which is vocal instruments, FX is reverb, and M is media. So if the band's playing and you want all the vocalists to be louder, you would move this slider up. If you want the instrumental part of the band, it just gives you a balance between the instruments and the vocals. Reverb, you should never need to change that. It's set to the room reverb. Very seldom that you'd have any need to change that. The media is the main volume control for any of the media, which is found under D. Here's your video feed. This would be from the USB. An iPod feed, which will come from this plug here. That's always available to plug in an iPod, a cell phone, or whatever. CDR would be here, right and left, and DVD would be from the laptop as well. So if you're at C and you're not getting any volume, you're going to find it right here. It's going to be setting there. Now when you move these, they're set to move together, left and right, so they stay preset. You're just increasing the volume of the media, and you can see it moves by itself. Back to C, and this would be your master gain or master volume control for any of the media that's being fed into the board.
Yeah.
Now there are some areas of the board which we would prefer that no one changes. One is this area here. This is the gate and the compression on the inputs, and this is the equalization on each input. And this is the out on the delay. So these areas are preset, and as you change, for instance, this would be Pastor Matt's equalization. You'll notice it's different for Pastor Diane, different for Wendy, different for the lectern. So they're all preset and pre-mixed by Ed. So this is an area that you don't want to fool with. Do not fool with this area. The other area not to fool with is here, other than selecting the service and pushing down to activate it. Do not fool with moving it. Do not fool with updating it. Leave that blank. These are currently not in use at all. These should not be touched as well. Other than that, it's pretty simple once you get a feel for what's where. Once you get the locations down, then you'll understand exactly what controls what, and it's just a matter of basically using A, C, and your monitors, and 8 and 9 here for, we'll get these labeled for the live stream feed. Other than that, all you're doing is adjusting volumes as you mix for the services.